The situation in Gaza is dire, and it's crucial to understand the complexities at play. Right now, ceasefire negotiations are in motion, led by the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt. They're proposing a 60-day truce that includes phased hostage releases and increased humanitarian access. Hamas has agreed to free 10 hostages, but they're demanding a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. On the other hand, Israel is insisting on Hamas's disarmament and wants to maintain military positions, even during any pause in fighting. They've even suggested relocating hundreds of thousands of Gazans to a controlled humanitarian city in Rafah, which many see as a blueprint for ethnic cleansing. The humanitarian crisis is catastrophic. Over 57,000 Palestinian lives have been lost. Homes are 90% destroyed, and food insecurity is rampant. The United Nations has described the situation as one of the worst ever. But what are the key obstacles to resolving this conflict? First, there's a fundamental disagreement on ceasefire terms. Hamas wants a permanent pause, while Israel is only willing to agree to a timed truce. Then there's the military presence. Israel insists on controlling key zones, while Hamas refuses to disarm. The governance vacuum complicates matters even further. Hamas's control has weakened significantly, but there's no clear replacement. The Palestinian Authority is discredited in Gaza, and an international trusteeship lacks political feasibility. Regional fragmentation adds another layer of complexity. Arab states and global powers are divided on how to approach the situation. Some support a two-state resolution, while others entertain unilateral plans, complicating unified diplomacy. So, what are the possible paths forward? One option is a temporary ceasefire that leads to transitional governance. This would involve negotiating a 60-day ceasefire with phased hostage returns and prisoner swaps. An internationally supervised temporary administration could take control, excluding Hamas. This would allow for massive aid flows, rubble clearing, and infrastructure rebuilding, ultimately paving the way for credible Palestinian elections or a two-state framework. Another option, albeit risky, is forceful regime change. However, removing Hamas without a post-war plan could lead to chaos, with militias or extremist groups filling the power vacuum. A more structured approach could involve a two-state framework via an international summit. A postponed UN conference in June 2025 could relaunch negotiations, reinforce Palestinian state recognition, and mandate Gaza governance reforms. However, this faces significant obstacles, including U.S. reluctance and Israeli settlement expansion. Regional powers could also take the lead in Gaza's reconstruction. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the UAE, and Qatar could unite to oversee rebuilding and governance. But this would require massive funding and a commitment to Palestinian sovereignty. For any of these paths to succeed, key players must take decisive action. Israel needs to accept a temporary military withdrawal for the sake of a ceasefire, halt settlement expansion, and comply with international law. Hamas must agree to disarmament or oversight during the ceasefire and cede civilian governance to a transitional structure. The Palestinian Authority needs to actively participate in governance, especially in light of calls for unity. The international community, including the UN, US, EU, and Arab states, must apply coordinated diplomatic pressure on Israel and provide robust aid while ensuring oversight to avoid misuse. Is peace still possible? It's not impossible, but it hinges on a ceasefire leading to strategic transitions, military withdrawal, governance overhaul, reconstruction, and clarity on statehood. If violence continues, Gaza may face further collapse, reinforcing cycles of suffering and radicalization. In summary, while a ceasefire won't end the conflict, it's a necessary first step. This must be followed by a transitional governance model, reconstruction, and a revived two-state diplomacy. Success depends on coordinated international pressure, Israeli political will, Palestinian unity, and genuine Arab state investment. It's a deeply complex situation, but a credible path exists. It just requires synchronized action from multiple parties,